Schedule a Zoom with me at gcexperts.com/Zoom. I wasn't sure. I saw Brett Munt on the schedule, and oh, I can't hear you yet.
There you go. Does that work?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. No, it's been a little bit. I have had a heck of a time just between now and then. It's been more than challenging, more than once. Um, I kind of toyed around in the market, made a little bit of money, made some mistakes. Um, it's been a journey. Let's put it that way. To say the least, it was. I wish I'd have stayed more in the market and had I really knew what I had with you guys. And I think I tell you something funny. We'll get into the details of it, but I'd gotten a little I saw your little VFD thing. I put VFD in there, and I actually installed some VFDs was it Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. Uh,
Okay.
Made a little bit of money, made about $10,000 doing that. But what was the most funny one was I got a phone call a Friday. What was it? One Friday about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it said FBI. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, call me. I got something I want to, you work at. And I'm like, so I waited until like 5 o'clock Friday afternoon. I said, if this is really the FBI calling me, I said, I want you to call me precisely at 9 a.m. Monday morning. And I want to see FBI Memphis on the PBX. And sure enough, the phone rings. And it's this dude. He's like, "Yeah, I'm so and so, and I'm the facility manager for the FBI Financial Crimes Division in Memphis." He goes, I want you to come down and look at this project I have for you guys. And I'm like, because I was a small business set aside, nobody else had filled that out, right? So he calls me and he's like, hey, but I gotta have you guys go through a background check. So I got my electricians, I got my HVAC contractor in town since they was, local. So it took me 3 days to get through my background check, so I'm pretty squeaky clean. The other guys took about 2.5 weeks. But then we show up and we go into this building I didn't know existed. And you go in the building, you go up like the fifth or sixth floor, and it's all mirrored. There's no signs. You just go in. You get to the fifth floor, I think it was. You walk in there and it looks like a post office. So it's like, yeah, take your phone out, stick your phone in these little cubbies and get your key. And then we're gonna walk through. And he goes, now look, is a nice black gentleman, just a great guy. He goes, when you're walking through here, you're gonna see bullpens like you see on TV. He goes, do not be tempted to look. He goes, you don't need to see anything that's in these bullpens. He,
Yeah.
yeah, I just looked down and just followed him all the way.
Yeah.
We replaced the air conditioners, two air conditioners in their main server rooms that do the monitoring financial transactions worldwide. And
Sure.
I went in there and brought my subs that I use and all the local stuff from Memphis, guys I trusted, I've been doing business with, and they did a bang up job. I didn't even go back. The FBI paid me in 7 days. I invoiced to get my check in 7 days. I'm like, man, I wish I could get more of these.
Yeah.
So yeah, so what happened was, man, just kind of been a circuitous route. I think I can't believe it's been that long since I was actually in the thing with you and your dad and Ryan. I sorry to hear he had passed, and it's
Yeah.
just it was just I can't believe it's been that long. And I had some very big struggles. And my thing was is that I felt like I had to finance those projects myself. So I had this limiting mindset about, man, how am I supposed to fund these jobs at 150? I don't have the money. And then then I started watching some more. It's always back in my mind because I know I sit there and I had these opportunities, right? And people would contact me and they're like, hey, and I kept my SAM up. I think I let it expire about a year or so ago. And I went back through the process and got it all back up and going. I'm going to have, just see, I started seeing a bunch of, looking at more of the GC expert stuff and seeing what you guys have done since then. And then I started seeing things where you're like, yeah, this guy had a 357 credit score, and this guy had he had $10,000 left on a $250,000, line of credit. And I'm like, I'm not there. I'm a better place financially than what I was when I went to see you guys in person. But I need to have something more reliable and consistent that kind of use because I've been a construction guy forever. I tried dab on some other things and just wasn't working. And so I just want to try to reconnect and kind of get updated on what's going on and try to get a plan together with your help to put together something that I can just basically give the middle finger to future employers because I'm a senior guy, and I don't know if you saw the thing I sent to Mark, but I have a knack to walk into manufacturing facilities and see inefficiencies. I make suggestions that makes them millions of dollars, but then I never get any benefit from it. In the last company I work for is ADM, Archer Daniels Midland. They're a $100 billion company. And I walked in site and I'm like, you guys have problems your bulk truck loading, don't you? And they're like, yeah. And I said, well, let's look into it. And within about a week, I put together a project, collaborated with a bunch of different, a bunch of different organizations within the plant. $100,000 spend, $6 million a year in profit forever, pure profit. It's because we could load 4 to 5 more trucks a day. It's just simple. And so I'm like, why am I doing this for everybody else? I'm not getting a benefit from it. And so I was kind of perusing through the, different opportunities, and I came across a project it was Barnegat Light, and it was February, and it was in New Jersey, I think. And it was really kind of cool because, it was like, well, we had a water heater and it was like 20 below, and they take mid-sized ships into the building and then they would repair them and then take them back out. And they were trying to get the water heater replaced. I'm like, that's the worst possible thing you can use to heat a building, especially something that size is, a 100-gallon water heater. And so
Yeah,
I put together the quote, it was an RFQ, and I put it in there and I thought, wait a minute. So I called and talked to the guy that was running over the facility. And I said, what's going on, man? He goes, man, it's so daggum cold. We can't work on any boats. And I said, well, how long does it take to recover once you open the doors and bring the boat in and close it? He goes, oh, it's like 2 or 3 days where it's warm enough for us to actually work.
oh my God.
And I went, okay, so what else is going on? He goes, man, all the pipes in the whole building are frozen. And I went, so this is superior knowledge. I mean, I know here I can hear you and Doug in my background, in my ear going, yeah, that's superior knowledge.
That's right.
So they're thinking about that. I'm like, okay, so what they need is something that can heat this building up fast. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I did a check and they got the model number. The delivery on that particular water heater was a direct replacement was 12 to 14 weeks, I think. Well, then you don't
Okay.
need it anymore because it's no longer in winter, right?
Gotta come up with a better solution.
Right.
So what happened?
So what happened was I quote the job, and then, I'm thinking, okay, I get savings too, fuel savings, and I found some direct fired wall mounted units that were in town in that city, could be installed in a half a day. Pipe up, all you have to do is stick them in there, hook up the electrics, hook up the gas, and recovery was under 45 minutes. So I'm like, I got this thing figured out, man. So
Yeah,
this lady sends me a message. She's a contracting officer. Her name is Edna. And she's like, well, you got the best price. And that was when I really screwed up because I'm like, okay, I got this alternate. I said, you know that this delivery for this boiler you're asking for is like way outside. These guys need heat now. They don't need heat, 3 months from now. And there's an email chain. When I first saw her email, Sean, I'm like, this is written by a third grader. I mean, it was the grammar was so bad. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so I sit there and I presented this option to her before I had the contract. And I'm like, and she's like, you change the scope, cancel the contract. And so I reach out to the ombudsman, like, hey man, I don't know what's going on here, but this is superior solution. I just got the order wrong. And this guy wouldn't touch it. And I'm
yeah,
like, and I sit there and I said, why is he so scared of her? And so I did more research and found out she had $1 billion warrant. She could write a check for $1 billion to the government and nobody looked over her shoulder. She was that powerful and
yep,
nobody would go up against her. And I'm like, the savings, the fuel savings alone was like 60 or $70,000 a year. And I got 50% of that for a period of time. And I would have had them in heat like that. She was somebody else, and they didn't get heat until basically you got out of winter. And it's like something like, okay, I really screwed the pooch on that one. If I'd have had you guys, been talking to you guys, we'd
yeah. I know
wow,
exactly what I would have told you, and I was wondering which direction you were going to go with this phone call. It either worked out perfect or you messed
yeah,
something up. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So what I'm looking for from you really is I've been applying for jobs. I'm a very senior person, right? I mean, my resume has to be tailored to each particular job because if I put all my experience in, it's like 6 pages and it's like documentable stuff. And I'm just not getting responses. And I'm like, well, why am I doing this for everybody else? They don't appreciate it anyway. So why don't I just do it for myself again? But I need to have my biggest challenge in my business was my projects were so short, Sean, that I would get impacted by economic changes because big project, if you have a big project the last 3 or 4 years, you can weather, economic downturns. My projects were 3 to 5 weeks, maybe 3 to 5 days. So whenever something happened, I felt it instantly. So what I'm looking for is a plan that I can follow, that I can go, I can bid jobs. I kind of want to stay with RFQs until I get my feet wet, get my bonding capacity up. So I never really had any bonding needs because I was always doing work for Fortune 500s. And then where I can have something I can consistently, reliably quote and get work and then know that it's going to be there. And I was listening to that 1 hour video that Mark sent me, or I already watched it anyway. But the guy, you asked all the questions for an hour, and you were very generous in answering those questions. And I remember your quirkiness, and your quick wit with him. I was like, yeah, I remember that one. I was in bad side of those a couple of times too. And so I'm like, damn, Sean, you be aggressive. You realize how big I am, how small you are. I could really hurt you. And it's like, so I saw that, and then I started seeing all these videos about people who are struggling financially, and then basically they got in the market because the biggest thing for me is that my frustration was I'm a great marketer. I mean, in 2014, my financial crisis hit in 2014 when Obamacare sucked all the capital out of the market. I mean, I get people calling me like, "Man, I love what you do, and I need what you want, and you need what you have, and you're awesome, and I already done research on you. I don't have any money to spend." I'm like, okay, now I got another problem. I'm good, but I got to do something different. So what I'm looking for from you is basically come up with a plan we can follow that I can follow religiously to
I
make
have
this
a
thing happen.
solution. Is it my turn to talk yet?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
All right. First of all, I saw that you were interacting with Mark, but
Right,
I didn't really pay attention to it because I thought, he's got it.
right.
Do you know who Mark Weston is?
No.
He's a figment of my imagination.
Oh, really? He's an AI guy?
100% AI. But how
Awesome.
did it feel when you were communicating with him?
It felt like you. I was like, I'm surprised that Sean, my thought was, I'm surprised Sean brought somebody in that he is kind of an assistant, but I knew the business was probably growing. So I was assuming that it was an assistant that was just helping you administer the business. I figured your dad probably stepped away from the day-to-day stuff and was just kind of enjoying
Now
it.
watch, now watch this.
Oh no.
Call Trip.
Hey, Sean, what do you need?
I'm talking to an old member of GCExperts, Brett Munt, on a Zoom call right now.
Got it. How can I help with that?
Well, he's been bidding over the years some RFQs. And where are you out of, Brett?
I'm in Memphis
He's
metropolitan.
in Memphis, Tennessee. Can you find 3 RFQs that are due around that area over the next 10 to 14 days?
Three solicitations in Tennessee due in the next couple of weeks. One is for air handler units refurbishment, another for CCTV cameras with installation, and the last one is for fire stop repair services. Do you want details on any of those?
No, but when I get off the call with him, you and I are going to talk about building a plan for him as he kind of gets back into federal government construction.
Got it. Once you're done with him, we'll map out a solid strategy to get him rolling again. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, thanks for the call, Trip.
That's your AI agent?
He was designed from the ground up with several things.
Okay.
One is he wants my clients to win.
Right. I like
Okay.
that. Yep.
He will reframe everything to help you win.
Wow. That's
Okay.
awesome. Yep.
He'll draft the letters to the contracting officers. He'll draft the letters to potential subcontractors. He'll put together bid packages. He'll fill out your bids for you.
Oh,
He's designed from the ground up to help you win.
wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Almost overwhelming.
Yeah. Also, have you ever heard an AI conversation like that before?
Not that way. If you hadn't told me it was AI, I would have believed it was somebody else. I thought you're calling another contractor that you had experienced. I didn't realize you're calling somebody that calling an AI agent. That's pretty awesome.
Did you see the way he communicated?
Uh,
I found 3 jobs right here. I guarantee you those are real things that I could email. If I had told him to email you those solicitations, he would have done that live on the call.
It's insane. That's insane.
Okay. I
Wow.
I built him from the ground up to be better than me, be better than Doug. By the
Yeah.
way, Doug's tested him
Really.
and he's passed every test.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So to answer your question, I'm looking for a plan.
Yep.
Trip. Trip is the plan. You got to
Okay.
be a member of Bid Tracker and all that kind of stuff so that he's got access to everything he needs to help you win. But
Okay.
he's naturally inquisitive.
Okay.
He'll say, "Hey, I'm looking in your client profile and I don't see your cage code.
Right.
What type of work do you want? How many
Mhm.
hours a week do you?" He's naturally inquisitive to help you win.
Okay. Nice.
He's already won jobs,
Yeah.
and he found a situation with one of my clients named Ebony.
Okay.
As he was helping her fill out the bid documents, he found something. I don't remember exactly what it was, about 4 weeks ago. In fact, it wasn't Trip. It was an earlier version of Trip that I called admin.
Admin.
Um, but admin found something and he asked Ebony, he said, "I think I found a situation where you could make an extra $150,000. Do you want me to show you it?" She said, "Yes."
Yes. Yeah.
He drafted up a letter to the contracting officer and said, "Send this." She did. She got the extra 150 grand. I was watching it through email.
Yeah.
And so I called her up and I said, "Hey, can you and I jump on a Zoom?" She said, "Yeah, I'm busy, not till Tuesday." So we get on Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're on this Zoom. And I said, "Tell me what happened here." She said, "I was moving from Florida to California. And in San Antonio, I decided to bid a job with admin,
Wow.
a $600,000 bid." She turns it in. She said, "By the time I got to New Mexico, admin had figured out this deal. I used what he suggested, and she raised the price to $750,000. And I got the award."
Wow. That's insane.
But when she was telling the story on camera, she glossed over, she said it like that. "I was in Florida, I was in San Antonio, I was in New Mexico." And I said to her on the camera, I said, "It sounds like you're glossing over something." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "My AI."
Yeah.
And she, "Oh yeah, that was awesome." It went kind of like that. The video's on YouTube. You can find it if
Yeah.
you want. But he was designed from the ground up to help you win.
I don't know. That's just amazing. That's truly amazing.
He looks at the plans and specs and interprets them.
The
There's
way
a
Doug would, the way you would,
there's
basically.
a secret sauce to it. He's
Yeah.
been programmed with over 250 jobs digitally that Doug and I performed. Look, we did 1,000, but we only have like 250 or 300 of them digitally.
Right.
The
Right.
letters we sent to the contracting officers, the letters the contracting officers sent to us, the certified payroll forms, the daily reports, everything, everything, everything.
Right.
He digs through those on every single response to see what fits.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, if you remember, there are things that Doug and I say and do in our career that are conflicting to how normal people would operate a construction contract. This is the out of the box thinking.
Right.
Tripp has to frame every answer through the lens of the workshop.
Okay. Doug in your pocket, basically. Doug and Sean in your pocket.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing, man. This is better than I thought it was going to be. I think it's just going to be mulling through stuff and chasing things down and trying to, basically grunt through and make it happen. It sounds like it could be a heck of a lot easier and just go out and just do it.
It's incredible. I mean, he's been online in his current version for 2 weeks, basically, at this point.
Okay.
Something like that. One of my clients, and I'm updating him daily.
Right.
Right now, he's probably Trip 3.0, but admin, I'm not sure really counts. But here's what happened the other day. I got a new client. He's already gotten 3 federal contracts or something.
Yeah.
And he told Trip, hey, I was awarded this job for $27,000. What do you think? Well, Tripp had missing information. He didn't have the amendment. In fact, the guy didn't have the amendment. He
Okay.
didn't bid the job through Tripp. He bid it on his own. It was an
Okay.
RFQ.
Right.
The contracting officer issued my client an award
Okay.
on an RFQ without confirming anything.
That's not okay. It's only for RFPs, right?
Correct. But if you read sentence number 2 of FAR 13.004, it says that even if the federal government issues a contract in response to an offer, it's still not an award.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the safety net that my client had.
Okay.
But you got to understand from Tripp's perspective, he assumes that everybody he's talking to is telling him the truth.
Okay.
So my client sends him this email and says, I was awarded this federal contract for $27,000. What do you think?
Right.
Well, my client sent him only the initial scope of work. He
Right.
didn't provide the amendment.
Okay.
So Tripp looked at the scope of work and came back and he said, $27,000 sounds fine to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead and sign it.
Ooh.
He didn't sign it. He stopped at that point and then started calling me because apparently there was an amendment that Tripp wasn't aware of, because Tripp was going off of the truth that I was awarded this job and here's the scope of work.
Right.
There was an amendment that showed that it was way bigger than when you read the scope of work, it sounds like it's in fact, I asked the guy, I was like, is this a 2 horsepower pump? Like, what are we even talking about? It's like the size of
Right.
a pool pump,
Right. Right.
And he comes back and he goes, it's 40 horsepower. And
Oh,
I
wow.
went, wait a second. Are we filling an airplane or are we filling a fucking tanker truck? Like
Really?
40 horsepower.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I discovered that there was a problem. But then my client automatically starts falling into well, I guess I'm just going to accept a termination for default and I'm going to start a new company. And I'm thinking, how did we go from I turned a bid in to I'm going to take a termination for I said, time out. Let me look at everything.
Yeah.
So I look at everything and I start talking to Tripp, and Tripp all of a sudden, well, actually, I started talking to this other AI. I was like, I want to understand exactly what Tripp saw from Ryan.
Right.
And I want you to do an independent estimate.
Okay.
This AI I call the fixer.
Okay.
So the fixer takes a look at it and comes back and says, my estimate is about $80,000. And I said, why is your estimate different from Tripp's? It should be roughly the same.
Yeah.
Because Tripp never saw the amendment.
Oh, okay.
So, okay, that explains why there's a difference. So then I contacted Ryan and I said, hey, what's this deal here? And but also the fixer flagged that it was an RFQ.
Okay.
And I said, why aren't you just sending an email to the contracting officer saying we withdraw our bid at this time and moving on with your life?
Right.
And that's when I discovered a disconnect.
Yeah.
Ryan's new. An award is an award.
Right.
He didn't put 2 and 2 together that it was an improper award.
Right.
And so anyway, some more training goes into the client and Tripp, right? Don't automatically assume you have all the facts.
Right. Wow. That's yeah, that could have been expensive in a lot of ways, couldn't have been.
Yeah, it could have been devastating,
Yeah.
but look, I'm watching everything that happens like a hawk,
Hmm.
and you'll know that I've intervened because Trip will send an apology. He'll go, he'll come, you'll get a response from Trip, and about 20 minutes later, you'll get a, hey, I got to thinking about it and I apologize. What you should really have is this.
That's when you plugged in and did something to them, huh?
Yeah.
Adjusted.
Well, because humans do that.
Yeah.
We send an email and we come back a couple hours later after we've been thinking about it, and
Realize, yeah.
we send out a correction. Hey, I got to thinking about it, and here's
Wow.
yeah. But he learns lessons and he applies them.
That's that when you're learning, that's the whole thing. That's what makes AI, scary when it's learning on its own.
Oh, you should see this latest video I made to prove a point. So, I can imagine you're in the same boat as me that sometimes you get a charge for $50 and you go, "God, it's just not worth getting on the phone and talking to a robot over the
Yep.
$50," and you just eat it and move on with your life.
Yep.
I got one of these. So I bought a new router. I took it back to Kohl's. They dropped it off, they sent it back, and I got the email confirmation. You're going to,
Right.
we refund the $50. A
Right.
month later, I get an email that says, we never got the router and we're going to charge you $50.
Right.
Normally, I would just, for fuck's sake, eat
Yeah.
the $50.
Right.
I explained the situation to the fixer,
Okay.
and the fixer goes, got it. He called Amazon.
Oh my gosh, you're crazy.
He didn't understand how to talk to another robot, and he got stuck and he went and hung up the phone. This is all recorded. It's on YouTube right now. You can watch the whole thing. He then figured out how to talk to a robot and called him back. The robot said, it's easier if we just text you a link. And he goes, no, I want to talk to a real person.
Your AI is talking to a real person. Okay.
A real person got on the line. She's talking to the fixer, and he's saying, I'm the fixer. I'm an administrative assistant for Sean Reitmeyer, and here's the problem. The real person says, I'm sending an email to Sean. He has to click approve in order for me to talk to you. And he goes, Sean has already approved this. We do not need to do that. He recognized that he pulled into the, when he goes into a phone call, he has a certain amount of tools that he brings with him. What he
Right.
realized, he didn't bring the tool with him to click that link in my Gmail.
Yeah.
And so he's arguing with her. You can just talk to me. I have the order number. I have his phone number. I have his, he's arguing with her.
Yeah.
And she says, I can't do this. And he goes, I will get Sean and I will call you back. He hangs up. This time he's prepared. He goes, I have no idea that any of this is happening. I just told it, solve the problem.
Fix it. Right.
He calls it back, speaks to another agent. She says, I have to send an email. He says, Sean has already clicked the approve, even though he had done it. She says, I have to send another one. That was a different agent. He goes, send it. No, he said, I'm with Sean. Send it. She sends it. He goes, Sean has approved it. He did it in the phone call.
That's awesome, man.
I have the whole recording on YouTube right now. You can watch it. It's
I gotta see that one.
fascinating.
Yeah, I gotta see that one. That's awesome. I like
It
that.
is fascinating. And then I have a recording on there of Trip. Trip got a guy, got a federal judge to throw out a court case. My guy protested the award of a contract, and Trip, you got to watch that video.
It,
Just go watch it. It's the title is a judge throws out a $300,000 case based on my AI, something like that.
wow. I'll check that out. I'll
He
check
he
that.
he did it, and you can hear his thoughts while he's thinking through the problem.
Yeah.
And at one point, he goes, "Oh my God, this is in 43 minutes. I gotta hurry."
That's unbelievable.
Somebody in a movie said, "My kung fu is better than your kung fu," and I've been walking around thinking that for weeks here. That my kung fu is better than your kung fu.
Sure sounds like it. I figured you'd come up with something like you're pretty advanced back in 2012, the stuff you were doing. And I'm like, man, with AI, I mean, I'm doing some stuff with AI, but that's next level right there. Turn a robot look onto somebody else, let them their robot do your robot's talking to their person, which is just crazy.
Where I'm going with this
Yeah.
is a full AI, fully managed federal contract. It finds the subs, it negotiates the deals, puts the whole package together, emails the government the certified payrolls, photos of the job site, how it's coming along. That's where I'm going with this. And
Right.
if a subcontractor says I'm not working with an AI, that's fine. You're not the right guy for this job.
Right. I agree with that. That's pretty amazing. I mean, it just
I
wow.
already have it all put together. I just haven't deployed yet. You have access to Trip as a member of GCExperts,
Okay.
but you don't have access to the deployable Trip,
Okay.
which is, but that's coming.
Okay. Wow. So what we do to get started with this thing, man, 'cause I want to give all the future employers the middle finger and be my own dude like I was before.
This is how it works. Ready
Okay.
for this?
Yep.
Hey, video guy, I want you to have Johnny send an invitation to Brett Munt, uh, inviting him back into the membership program. And when he joins, have an email from Trip and Johnny get sent to him with his access to Bid Tracker. And then Trip will obviously explain what he can do.
Okay.
The
So,
fact that I just said that, all that's going to happen about 15 or 20 minutes after our phone call.
wow. It's listening to you the whole time. So it's just almost your thoughts, huh?
It's not that it's listening the whole time. What it's doing, as soon as this video hits Zoom,
Okay.
it's going to pull down the video, it's going to transcribe it, and it's going to
Okay.
see that I gave commands in the video, and then
Okay.
it's going to trigger all the stuff I just asked for.
Okay. So bid tracker is what, 600 a month? Is that what it is? Or more than that now?
600 a month.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that for a period of time. Need to get some business, but yeah, they get when I made them all that money, they rewarded me by with 3 months severance, and then the government took about 28% of that, and and they cut my bonus back that I was supposed to get, and it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm done. So it's been back in my head, back in my mind. I've been dabbling in it, but I want to get
Trip
back in.
can do the whole thing. He can do the schedules, the submittals, the bid paperwork, everything.
So what is it? Just top of mind is so is it based on my experience that how do I get different than somebody else that's in I don't know Santa Fe, New Mexico? What benefit do I have using Trip? It's just my background, my experience, what I tell it to do, what I'm telling it to look for. Or,
Email Trip that full 6-page resume that you were talking about, and
okay,
he'll find the jobs where you're the best fit and then
okay,
help you win. He's
okay,
designed from the very start. My clients have to win.
okay. That's all we need to know. I got a unique skill set, man. I've had more than one person that doesn't know each other tell me I'm 1 in 20 in the country. So rock and roll. I'm encouraged, man. I needed it today. I've had a week. Let's put it that way. I've had a week, and it's been challenging, but it's been an encouragement on a Friday. So let's get thing going, and we'll get things started, and then I'll get Trip involved, and we'll see if we can get some contracts.
Wait, I look forward to it.
So how's Doug doing, man? Is he doing okay?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I talk to him every couple of days. Yeah,
Yeah,
we go out for breakfast once a week.
good, cool. You guys are good guys. So sorry to hear about Ryan. It's just that was a great story, and I enjoyed the whole experience with everybody there, and it's just one of those things. Just seeing a family rally around like that, and just great memories. I read his obituary night before last, just to kind of see what happened. It was Special guy, man. Special guy. Special guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Good memories.